Okay, welcome back. We are back at the Maven Studio, part 2 with Sonny Drake.
What's happening, people?
He's back. If you missed the first episode, find it. We talked about his motocross career, 22 broken bones,
Bunch of surgeries,
getting hooked on pain pills.
Yep.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, crazy stuff, man. It kind of led me down this crazy path in life, right? We all have our the paths that we go down, and mine's been a wild one.
Been a wild ride, and we're gonna go through it. Pull the mic up for me a little bit.
Yes, sir.
There we go. We want to hear your beautiful voice. So, Sonny's a dog, man. So after Moto,
you
kind of take a different path in life, and you land yourself in the world of sales.
Yeah. So
start me off before you got into the sales game. I think you worked with your dad, or he had his own company.
Yep.
Start me there, and then how did you get into the 1099 commission only game of madness?
Oh, the scary stuff.
The scary.
Yeah. So after Moto ended, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to fall right into what my dad's business is, and that's a tree business. So I did that for a long time. A few years, climbing trees, man, in upstate New York, specialized in taking down the trees that nobody wanted to take down, over multi-million-dollar houses with bad knees to boot, but was still young and spry, so I could make it happen. Did that for quite some time. And one lucky day, I got a message about a job that my cousin was doing at the time. And for me, I knew I wanted out of New York. For me, it was just kind of my hometown. For me, was this dark spot, right? And I knew I wanted out. How was I going to do that, and with what money? I don't know, right?
Figure it out as you go.
I'm gonna wing it. So I find out that my cousin's doing this job. It's at this alarm company, and I'm like, what is that? I don't even know what an alarm is, An alarm's a gun at my house, right? And
guns and dogs.
Guns and dogs. So, so I started looking into it a bit more, and it was Vivint, right? So I made a couple calls, got on the phone with Chase Johnson at the time, one of your guys, and was my manager for quite some time.
Wait, hold on. Your cousin?
My cousin, Steven Scott.
Worked with Chase?
No, they didn't work together, right? Steven at the time, and by the way, Steven Scott is probably one of the realest G's out there when it comes to slinging solar.
Shout out to Steven.
You're the man. He's like the sales and manager king out there for sure right now in 2023, going into 24. We've learned a lot from him. Love you, cuz. But at the time, believe it or not, he wasn't selling. He was overseeing installs operations, right? So I was actually looking into doing that.
Being a tech.
Being a tech, yeah. The thought of doing sales didn't cross my mind, right? And then he put me in contact with Chase because I was looking at moving to San Antonio, Texas. Okay. And I talked with Chase. I think I had maybe 2 conversations with him. And he started telling me, about what this job was, how it looked, what, the potential was. And, it kind of blew my mind. I'm thinking, I don't know, this guy for real. And
what was he telling you?
That, you go out in summer, a couple, 3-4 months in summer and make, 60 to 100K or more, that there's dudes making more than that. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's no way. Are you serious?
First time hearing about something like that, you're like, some red flags maybe pop up.
Super skeptical,
Yeah.
And that said, my cousin's like, yeah, dude, there's guys that are doing that for sure. So I believe my cousin. So I decide to wing it, man. I pack up, get in my car, drive from upstate New York in Fulton all the way to San Antonio, Texas on a hope and a prayer, dude. With about $2,000 to my name at the time.
Moto career was over, and you're like, dude, I'm working with dad, not getting where I want to go. Kind of felt like you were at a dead end and want to get out of town and start over.
Dude, yeah, 100%. You know, it wasn't that, I hated New York or my hometown. It was just there was too many things there for me to get, off track, right?
Yeah.
And I just want, I
Peep,
wanted
peep
to.
episode 1 if you want to know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Episode 1 will fill you in.
Yeah, 100%. So for me, it was more so about finding a place that I could start over, new identity, kind of, get away from this person I was in the past to reinvent myself to where I am today, right? And I didn't know where it was going to take me or, how far I could make it or what it would look like, but it just sounded good. So I wung it, man. I said, all right, let's do this. I had 2K to my name. I drove out to Texas, got into a apartment at the time that was filled with roaches. Man, I didn't know what a roach was because I didn't live in New York City. But sorry, New Yorkers. But filled with roaches, man. But I didn't care. I was out. I was in my own place, and I got to meet Chase. I got to meet a couple other managers at the office at the time. Greg Nottingham. He's a badass dude.
The boys, the OGs.
The OGs for real. You had Brian Redmond at the time. You had Quentin Tolbert. Bunch of dudes. You obviously overseeing everything. I don't think I got to meet you until my few months in and going out to my first summer. But I had started the GM, year-round program is when I came in.
Right.
And my first day going in to the office, I meet Chase, right? And he's showing me on a whiteboard, like, what the potential looks like and what kind of pay you can make, and he shows me, I'm like, can you, like, show me what you made last year, right? Don't just calculate it out for me. I want to see yours.
You're like, I want to see the paper, brother.
Yeah, man.
Pull out the 1099s.
You know how salespeople are, they'll be like
to inflate it.
Yeah, man, I made $350K in the summer. I'm like, and they pull it out on their calculator on their phone. Okay, dude. Okay. But yeah, no, so he actually shows me, and he made what he made. It was 6 figures. It blew my mind,
And Chase was similar age, right? You're like, hey, this kid's my age, maybe a little older. But
he's a couple years older. But yeah, I was sitting there thinking, if this guy can do it, I can do it, man. Like, I was a pro dirt bike racer. I got a little swagger. I'm not afraid of anything, man. Nothing really scares me than other than just failing, right? That's my only fear is failure, letting people down, That's it.
And Chase and Greg, they came. Do you know how they got into work with me? What they were doing before?
Some of the story. I think that they were in a gym, right? Or
Yep. They were trainers at Gold's Gym.
That's so
and they crushed it.
That's so crazy.
If you're in the gym industry and you're selling gym memberships, you need to look into direct sales. It's a very similar sales process and way more money.
100%. I mean, any sales industry, I don't care what you're in, you really should look at coming here. Ultimately, though, meeting Chase and talking to him that first day. For those that know him, he's a super cool dude. I learned so much from him. I love the guy. He's a shorter guy, but he's fierce. He goes out and he gets it. And I remember it's just day one. I don't think I had even fully onboarded yet. And I show up in kind of church attire, right? Business
normal
attire.
Interview business.
Exactly. I wasn't sure what to expect, right? And he's like, so what are you doing? What are you doing for the rest of the day? And I'm like, nothing. Going back to the house, I guess, and filling up my fridge. I don't know. He's like, you want to go out? Let's go out. I'm like, yeah, all right, you know. Luckily, I had a pair of shorts in the car. He gave me a Vivint, jersey at the time, polo, and I went out with him. And day one, wasn't even onboarded fully yet. And I think we were out for maybe 2 hours, and I'm watching him knock doors. And at about 2 hours in, I started to think to myself, I think I could do this, man. Like, I think I got this. He's getting a lot of no's, hard no's.
Right.
And I asked him, like, hey, man, can I try a door, And he's like, he kind of wasn't about it,
They want you to mess it up.
Didn't exactly. But he gave me the shot. He said, all right, go for it. If you think you got it, send it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My first door, I swear, true story, first door, knock it. Lady comes out, cigarette, What are you doing here? one of those ladies. I'm like, hey, ma'am, my name's Sonny. I'm here, helping people, protect their homes and their families. And I didn't know what, all the alarm stuff was, dude, but I'm just spitting words, man. And it just so happened to be right place, right time. If you've done this game long enough, you have those. It's gonna happen.
It's a numbers game, yeah.
Exactly. And they had a Platinum, the Ford F-150 Platinum, and at the time, a lot of people were getting their tailgates taken off because they were like $6,500 or something like that. Mm. And they had just had their tailgate stolen and like the rims taken off their other vehicle. So, pain points super high. It just happened like the day before. And I happened to knock the door. It's my first door ever, man. And I don't know anything about the products, the pricing, none of that stuff. But I'm just sitting there going with the flow. And we get inside the house, sit down. And at that point, Chase kind of had to, guide it, steer it from there. But sold it, got it done. And it was, I think my first commission check on that deal was like $2,400 or something. We did, 3 cameras, maxed out the cameras, did as much as we could, right? And it just blew my mind. I'm like, no way. Door one, day one, like over $2,000 in my hand a week or so later, right? And I was just, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, dude, I'm gonna make $1 million this year, bro.
Yeah, you got the bug, dude. Once you get that taste of commission money, you start comparing commission versus hourly, right?
Exactly.
And you realize you're almost earning your time back. You're earning your life back.
You really are. If you're putting in enough work, it is a numbers game. It's a law of averages, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think enough people realize that. And I was, talking with you earlier today about, not letting the highs be too high, lows be too low. Always try to stay even keel. And it's very hard to do. It really is. But you got to train your body, your mind. You got to have a routine. If you get out of that routine, it can be really difficult, right? Yeah. But ultimately, there's no other industry, there's no other job where a guy like me, who doesn't have a college degree,
ex-moto guy.
Yeah, ex-motocross guy, right? I just got my GED. I really dropped out of school in like 7th grade, stopped doing school in 7th or 8th grade, I think is what it was when I stopped actually doing the homeschooling, because at that point I was making more than what most people were anyway. And it was just mind-boggling. So I all right, I'm all in, dude. I'm all in on this thing. And that first week, I think I did 5 that first week. So I crushed it, mm-hmm. right? And I'm sitting here thinking, this is the easiest job in the world, man. it just so happened, that it was a neighborhood that had gotten hit pretty hard, right? And everybody was like that pain threshold was here.
They're all looking for something.
Exactly. And I had something different.
Yep.
I had something different, new and unique. You got to remember, this is at the time, right, when there really wasn't cool doorbell cameras.
Right.
Right? Like Vivint was the first to really come out and really make that
The good stuff.
the good stuff. So I go out and crush it, put down 5, and I'm thinking, man,
I'm rich,
I'm
baby.
ready. Yeah.
I made it. I'm back in my game.
Yep. And I remember people at home telling me, dude, hang on, you're doing what? You're walking around knocking on people's doors selling like home security systems? That's not a real job, bro. Like, why don't you like look for a job at like, one of the warehouses or something, I'm like, dude, no.
You're like, you don't understand.
Nah, I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
I'm good. So, that's something you gotta be careful for, right? Like, even with, family and friends, if they have that scarcity mindset and you get around that, it can actually, it can play a toll on you and in the way that you think.
Right.
Even if you're, doing good, right? So you got to be careful about that and make sure that, you don't allow yourself to be affected as well by other people's scarcity mindset. Always have an abundant mindset because you know what you're capable of.
Yeah. Because you go into it like, what if I do good? What if I absolutely crush it? What can my life look like? And then you have people on the other side. They're like, what if you don't? What if you don't make it? What if you? And it's always but what if I do? Nobody does the comparison like, what if I do? It's always, what if you don't? Right?
It's always what if you don't. And that's the thing, right? Is that at the end of the day, you're going to always have people that are going to hate on it or just think that it's, crazy, outlandish. You're nuts for, doing this job, right?
And it's a lot of the times just because they wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
So
That's
they
all
don't
it
want
is.
you to. They don't want you to do it because I've learned one thing is people want you to do well, just not as good as them.
It's very true. It's very true.
They'll cheer you on, and then once you pass them up, they're like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden they kind of flip.
Yeah, it's been my whole life, man. Been my whole life, especially with moto, right? So, taking that into context, going into this, with motocross and my career with that, it was always, game time. I knew I was a man. I showed up at the races. There wasn't anybody that was gonna beat me. I walked around my freaking head held high, and that was it. Like I knew I was a champ. The champ is here. I put in the work, right? Nothing's gonna stop me. So I try to have that same mindset, that same attitude going into sales, but by end of my second week, bagel. Going into my third week, bagel.
Oh man!
First week 5, second week sell
Slump,
nothing,
slump.
zero. Now by the end of that third week, I'm starting to question my
You're
whole
like,
entire existence.
Maybe I should go chop down more trees.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to climbing 130-foot trees.
Maybe mom and dad was right. This isn't a real job.
And it does. That thought creeps into your head. It does. But you got to remind yourself, right? Like, I went out and did this. I put in 5. I got 5 sold. I could do this again.
Yep.
I can do this again. If I've done it before, I can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Stop letting fear and doubt and anxiety just completely dictate your outcomes. You gotta have control. So it was going into week 4, and I definitely was really starting to panic a little bit, thinking, "Oh my God, what have I done?" That first paycheck, I got a little spend happy.
Yep, it came and gone real quick.
Real quick. Story of my existence. For those that know me, working on that. But week 4, I went out and I did. I think it was 3, and got my spirits back up again, and from there it stayed fairly consistent. I'd do anywhere between, bad week was like 2 or 3, good week, 7, 8, really good week 10 to 12.
Yeah.
So then going out for that summer grind, that was a different sort of animal, right?
Right.
For
Where'd we go?
it was it Augusta
Yeah.
for our first summer,
I think
right?
so, yeah.
And it was brutal.
Augusta, Georgia.
What's crazy is too, when I was growing up racing moto, I lived like 2 hours away from there, from Augusta. But yeah, Augusta, Georgia rolls around. That's where I finally meet you, T. Woody, the man, the myth, the legend, the owner of Maven over here, dude.
The Maven.
The Maven. And we're in this office. This is where I meet a bunch of other people that
With the
have
blue walls.
Yeah, with the blue walls, dude. Oh man, you just
Took you there.
yeah, it was
Took you
bad.
back. I'll send you some Snapchats I've got saved from
Please don't,
Tony on a Segway in the office trying to.
Tony. Yeah, man, there were some wild times.
There was.
Good times, bad times.
Aaron Gunn was out there.
Gunn.
Malcolm was out there.
Garza, yeah, Willis, Cam Willis, Breckenridge,
Toker.
yeah,
Scott.
yeah,
Melissa.
mm-hmm,
The whole squad.
yeah,
Groman.
yeah, Chris Groman, man,
Redmond. The whole.
yeah, Brian Redmond, all of them were out. I mean, we had a killer
we had a good
group,
squad,
man.
We crushed it.
We did, and going into that summer, I wasn't sure, what it was going to be like going from San Antonio, kind of like pacing, slow paced sort of vibe.
Working all 12 months, kind of pacing it out.
Yep. Then going into that first summer where I've been hearing how these summers are, what to kind of expect, but you don't know what to expect until you're there.
To
dude.
experience it.
It's wild.
For guys that, because I know a lot of people watching this, they're the solar rush has been here for a couple of years now, and a lot of the solar guys are just they work kind of all year, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll do 10 on, 20 off, so kind of doing these blitzes, right? What's it like? Because you've done both, right? What is it like doing the summer model where you're just balls to the wall for 4 months and then have some relaxed time versus going all year?
Man, it's wild because the difference between the two is
pros and cons to both. But
yeah, there's pros and cons to both for sure. But ultimately, when you're out doing a summer model and you're with a bunch of people, right? You're with this group, and this group ends up becoming like your family, right? Your brothers and your sisters. And it's day in, day out. This is what you're doing. You eat, sleep, drink it, man. Like one day we're out, we'll go do something fun, but everything else is just we're grinding, sun up, sun down.
You live with them, you drive with them.
Yeah,
like
it feels like you're in a reality TV show or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, some
Big
MTV
Brother,
show.
Big Brother, or something like that.
Something like that, dude. But it puts you in an environment that reminded me very much of kind of like me training for dirt bike racing, for the season coming up, where I'm with a bunch of moto dudes. We get up, we go to the gym, we grind it out there, we get ready, we role play, we practice, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And we go out and we hit the doors. Same concept, but the difference between the two, like with summer, it's hardcore. It seems really, when you're in it, it seems like it's taking forever. But once that summer ends, it's like, wow, that went by so fast.
Blink and it's gone, yeah.
Yeah, it went by so fast. And you experience so much in that time frame, man. It's a something that you'll never forget, right? Like it's a beautiful thing. You make lasting friends for life. There's people that I'm gonna be, friends with for life, that I met there and
Right.
I've been friends with since. And with the year-round model, right? It's that slower pace, and I think that you can get. That's where I think that you can very much so get into your head, and get complacent, right? feel extremely burned out if you allow it to happen. And if you're not spending your money wisely, saving, and putting your money away, if you're not doing that, when you're doing that year-round model and a low time hits, because it happens, to all of us at some point. We
Right.
kind of go through a little slump.
It's usually like this, right?
Yep. Like, it happens. And when that happens, and if you haven't put any funds away, right, you're not doing the right things with your money. When that time hits, it's 10 times more stressful. It hits you like a ton of bricks, and that's when you go back to thinking, man, gonna go back to freaking working the 9 to 5, dude.
Right.
But then you sit back and you look at it from, a whole, and you're like, okay, man, my first year, I think it was like 121 or 128 or something like that.
Sold 120, yeah.
It was in the 120s.
Which is, do you remember how much in commissions total that was for that?
I think it was like 90. It was just shy of 100K.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're probably around 90,000.
Just shy of 100K, and for knocking on doors for really
A couple months.
a couple months, because you were pissed off at me. It's a whole side story.
This guy.
We'll get into.
This guy.
Man, I think you thought I was making it up. It was for real.
No, I knew you were for real, but in my mind it was.
Yeah. I got you. Hey, listen, my missus at the time, she was. But no, it was wild because I made all this money in such a short amount of time. But that's where people go wrong, right? We make a ton of money in a short amount of time, and then we get spend happy. I remember one of the first things I did when I, got one of my first big checks. I went and I bought one of those Segways, right? And my manager at the time, Chase Johnson, is like, dude, you're an idiot. What are you doing? Why did you spend, how it was before everybody, it was before it was cool for everyone at the time, right? And I ended up breaking that thing like 4 days later because I'm an idiot.
They're a couple $1,000, right?
Yeah. Oh, I sent that thing. I'm trying to rip, off of curbs and stuff. I wasn't like taking it nice.
No, you're a moto guy. I remember you were jumping it. You were trying to do tricks off the.
Nah, man, the thing started getting all buck wild on its own, and it'd just take off, and you'd wad up, so you couldn't trust that sucker. But yeah, you get spend happy, and that's where you got to be careful. And you could do the same in the year-round model too. I've done it in both worlds, right? I've watched guys, this entire sales existence of mine in the sales industry. I've watched some guys absolutely crush it, make millions of dollars now at this point, but they're living check to check. That's me. But I'm making those changes, right? I'm willing to openly admit that that's something that I've always been bad with, not thinking ahead further in the future about what is this outcome going to look like if I go and do X, Y, or Z.
Right.
For me, I was like, man, just send it because I know I'll be able to make it back anyway. I'm good at my job. It'll be all right.
Right. The one thing you got to think of is at a certain point in your life, you want to hopefully stop working.
Exactly.
Right? And be able to still have some passive income coming in,
Exactly. And
because the last 30 years of our life, from 60 to 90, that's 30 years where really it's like you really don't want to be checking receipts at Walmart, at 75 years old because you got to pay rent. So,
and I think that's the average age of, an American before they die is like 75 or 76. It's a third of our way through our lives. It's crazy when you think like that, right? And certain things will start to, make you change the way that you think, right? And for me, that was the woman that I'm with now, Naomi.
Ooh, getting a little
Love you, boo.
love story going on here.
Yeah. We're gonna get back to the story though about the hate story with me and you. Love hate story.
Yeah, not much hate. Not much hate.
No. But I met the love of my life, right? And you start thinking long term. That's when it hit me.
Right.
Was all right. I got somebody who's real, and who's standing by my side through the roller coaster of the sales 1099 life, right? But yet still believes in me when I hit those lows.
And it's not just you got to be responsible for now. Now you've got potential spouse and kids and everything like that. So your whole perspective on
it changes,
why you
man.
make money changes. Yeah.
Completely. The things that you get excited over, it's weird. I get pumped to be able to get a new lawnmower. What? A new couch. Stuff like that. Make my place look like a home.
Right.
Right? And for me lately it's been more about, all right, how can I take this money and put it into the right places so that way I can retire, and not only that, I have wealth left behind for my future kids, right? Because I want to set them up as best as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
My dad worked his butt off to get everything he provided for us.
Right.
And I want to be able to do the same. So ultimately, you got to have a bigger reason to save and to think like that, other than just I want to be rich.
Yeah.
So for me, it's my misses to be, and hopefully, God willing, children and all that to come. Beautiful stage of my life that I'm going through.
Mm-hmm. That next chapter.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's exciting. It's very exciting.
So you went out, did your first summer.
Yeah.
Made some money, had to dip early.
Yeah, so reason I had to dip early, reason that you wanted to kill me, I get a call at 3:00 in the morning, right? And at that time, I had 2 dogs that were at my apartment in San Antonio, okay? And one of them had gotten knocked up at the doggy daycare center. And
sounds like a creepy movie.
Dude, it was crazy because it's an English bulldog, purebred, and they said that they can't give birth naturally. Got to be artificially inseminated. They got to have a C-section.
Jeez.
We took her in twice. I paid I think it's $350 to get an ultrasound or something. That I'm sending to check to see, because she's showing signs of it. But they're twice we sent her in. Nothing. No, she's not pregnant. I get a call one night. You get your screaming, get your A-double, home right now because your dog is in the closet giving birth.
Mm.
Yeah, so next day, I'm on a plane back to San Antonio. And I think I was well on my way to potentially being the number 1 rookie of the year. I think so.
Yeah.
I was close. I think.
When did you leave? Was it July or August, or do you remember?
It was right towards the end of July. I think it was in July. Yeah.
So you still had another month, at least another month left.
Yep.
And you were at 120. So yeah, you would have done over 150 counts.
100%. And I was getting more and more confident as the time went on. I wasn't getting burnt out. I was getting better and better and better. I remember having my first 2 spot, the feeling of that first 3 spot, right? Nothing like it.
I think that's why I was upset, because I saw how much money you were leaving on the table for 1 more month. And in my mind, I'm like, dude, it's a dog, right? But I know it's when it's your dog, they're kind of, and if you don't have kids yet, your dogs are kind of like your kids.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, dude's leaving $40,000 on the table because his dog's having a baby. As for me, I didn't quite understand, but
I get that.
But I don't. You wouldn't expect me to unless it was I had to think, dude, what if this was my dog? I didn't have kids, and I had to try to put myself in your shoes.
Yeah, and it was you were graceful about it as best you could be. I think you weren't mean to me. But
I might have called you an idiot or something.
yeah, maybe
Out of love, though. It was out of love.
100%. It's always the case with T Wood. And yeah, so I fly home and
Dog had a baby.
dog had one single puppy, which is weird in and of itself. And yeah, they said he was a miracle dog. He's not. He's a little nightmare terror. Weirdest looking dog in the world, English bulldog, purebred with this scruffy, scraggly, long-haired mutt mix. And no one, when you look at him, he looks like an old man. He's got a long beard and stuff, but he's not. He's young.
He wasn't even supposed to be in the world.
Wasn't even
Somehow he was
supposed to,
created.
man.
This beast.
Came out of thin air, bro. But I love him to death, yeah, so that was my first summer. I think Jeremy Bega, might have won that year for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I believe it was him.
Right.
Shout out Bega.
But he came over from a competitor, so it wasn't like a true rookie.
Gotcha.
Came over from ADT.
Yeah, that's right.
California guy.
Yeah.
And then, so after your rookie season.
Yeah, I came back, and it was GM for a while. A couple more, I think, a year or two more.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the GM, year round.
It's like where you stay local.
Yep, stayed home. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stay in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. Went through the lows of that and the highs of it, and it really is a different grind. You get back, you go from such a high intensity, high pace, environment to now it's just kind of like you're lone, kind of wolfing it.
Yeah,
right.
It's a lot harder.
It is
for some people.
Yeah,
for most people.
For most people, there's some people that go out there and make it happen. That can lone wolf it. If you're that type of individual, hey, props to you. Me, I like to be around others that are crushing it.
Feed off each other's energy.
Exactly. And I started hearing about all of these guys switching over to something called solar, and I'm like, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's saving the planet. Okay, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Mm-hmm.
They're making like $10K off of one deal. What? What? No way.
And you don't have to sell them anything. You're saving them money.
Yeah, day one. Yeah, so I'm hearing rumblings about this, right? And I was just, going into my second year at Vivint, and I was about to go out, I think, for my second summer, and that's when I decided to sit down and talk with somebody who was also at Vivint at the time, as pretty much almost everybody in solar was, and oddly enough, coming back to Vivint now, of course. But I sat down with him, and he explained the concept to me, right, and told me, it's it could be 30,000, it could be 100,000. I'm like, what? Dude, I have a hard time selling, $2,000, $3,000 lot. You're telling me I'm gonna sell a $80,000 thing of panels that go on somebody's roof, dude? Yep. Okay, I guess. All right. The concept makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do I start? So I went out to Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where it all began. And like at this point in my career stage of life, I was kind of tired of the moving back and forth. I won't lie. You know, some people, they can do it. Some people can't. I was getting to a point where I was like, man, I just want to be in one place. So it was difficult because at the time I was in a relationship, and that was hard to handle that distance, and but I went out and ran it's crazy because my first job in solar, not having done it, was being a regional sales manager. And I got a base, and that was crazy to me too, base salary. And I was training people, and I didn't even know how to do this yet. Didn't know how to do it yet.
They're like, oh, you have sales experience? Here you go.
Send it. But after about a month, I started to kind of figure it out. And I started to see some big checks that were like, wow, dude, this is game changing money right here, right? Now I'm definitely gonna break into the, that hit that $1 million a year mark. And that's always been a goal of mine, is to break a mill. Haven't come close to it, but I know that it's possible. There's people that are doing it right now. And I found out, as everyone does, that not everything is as it seems. And you got to be very careful and selective who you work with and who you surround yourself with, and really do your due diligence, right? And the companies that you're working for.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them out there that are a dime a dozen, just kind of screwing people over. And if you're new to the game, you don't know,
A lot of inexperienced people coming in trying to start their own, solar companies, alarm companies, pest control companies.
There's a ton. And hey, I got no problem with that, but like at the end of the day, if they're doing it in such a way where it's screwing everything up for everybody else, and for the homeowner, and that's where it's like, okay, I've always sold ethically. I've always believed in doing it the right way. I never wanted to, be the guy that just slapped, the fattest commission I could possibly make on some, 70-year-old that's not going to get the federal tax credit, no way.
Yeah.
That comes back to you.
Right.
You do that kind of stuff, I promise it comes back to you. You might make good money, but something's going to come back to bite you in the butt from that.
Karma's real.
It is, 100%. And
so you started out in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And then you went to.
Then I went.
So how did that eventually that relationship ended, or
yeah,
how did that go down?
So it was like about 7 or 8, about 8 months there, 8 months I would say, and the relationship ended. It ended because I figured out, there was a whole facade there that was going on, right? And that what we were doing was not ethical. And a lot of people weren't getting installed. A lot of people weren't getting the right offset that I'm sitting there telling them that I think that they're getting. So what that means is they're not getting full coverage, right, of what they're actually consuming with their home, for those that do solar, right? And they would say, okay, we'll make up the rest with some light bulbs and a thermostat. Sorry, it's not going to make up, that much, right? So
light bulbs and a thermostat.
We'll throw in some LEDs for you. Make up, 10,000 kilowatt hours. You'll be all right. And that happens a lot, man.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
No, not at all.
Which is good. Your ethical compass is good.
I've always tried to maintain that, and because anytime I've ever done anything that was unethical, it quickly has come back to bite me in the butt.
Yep.
Instantly for me. So I left that company and went to another company that was started by a couple guys that were, heavy hitters at Vivint, that were kind of starting their own little deal. They had the right idea, the right mission, the right goals, and etc. But now I'm back to straight 1099. That base is gone, and I'm not getting paid until a couple months down the road, or even further. Right? I didn't know when I was going to get paid. I knew it was going to be at install. So how long is it going to take? That was the mystery.
So you wouldn't get your commissions, which I think this is how it should be, but
Mm-hmm.
you weren't getting your commissions until the panels were actually installed on the
roof.
roof, and that usually depends on the state, right? Takes anywhere from
It could
4
be
weeks to 4
yeah.
months.
Yeah, it could be 30 days if you're lucky. Like that's like real quick. If you get it done in 30 days, you should be pumped.
Yeah.
But outside of that, typically, I mean, it could be 60 to as much as 120 days.
Right.
You know, I would say average time frame would be like 45 to 70, somewhere in there. And I go to this other company, and I'm putting in deals, man. I remember I actually had my first 5-spot ever, okay? And that was huge. And this is solar money that we're talking here, okay? And it was a family, right? Set up this dude, super nice guy, and he's like, "Listen, I want you to come meet my family. You know, we'll work something out." Okay, cool. I didn't know what to expect. Wasn't expecting that. Sell 5 in one go. It was like about a $88,000 in total if it got done in one deal commission check. Yeah, never seen a dime. Never seen a dime.
But it was posted as a paycheck Friday, though,
Yeah,
right?
big check Friday, baby.
88,000.
Yeah, you know, and that deal never. Those deals never got installed. They never made it to. They never made it to roof,
Right.
and it was mainly because we were using. I won't use names. I guess I don't want to crap on anybody. It's not who I am. But
Oh, yeah.
we were using dealers to install. Install all of our sales,
Right.
and I mean, 6, 7, 8 months has gone by. Nothing, not getting anywhere. And that's when it started to hit me. All right, I need to start asking some questions when I'm, looking around here for different opportunities at the different solar company. So at that point, I was just fed up, dude. To lose that
Mm-hmm.
and then to have all these other deals in the pipeline, you've been working your butt off and you got really nothing to show for it. It was so frustrating. So frustrating. So this is where I finally cracked. And I went back to San Antonio. I threw in the towel. And I went and I worked at a tree service company.
Oh, did you?
I did.
I didn't know that.
Did you know that? No. Yep, I did. For all of about a month and a half. Took me about a month and a half in that Texas heat.
You're like, get me out of here.
Yeah, Davy Tree Service. I mean, they're huge. Offered me a role, being a definitely very good at climbing trees, a foreman, knowing how to operate all of that type of heavy equipment, machinery, etc. I did that for about a month and a half, making, I think it was 26 an hour, and the blistering 110 degree San Antonio heat with dudes that don't understand what you're saying, and you're, they're right underneath you, and you could kill them at any point. So, month and a half of doing that, and I'm like, this sucks, man. This sucks. I'm going back. I'm going back. So at that point, it was at that point, I think, when I realized that I'm either going to stick to this like 9 to 5 thing, find one place and just ride it out, and just it'll be okay.
Hourly pay somewhere.
Yeah. It is
The safe, secure job.
Yep. I can find like a warehouse to work at or drive a truck or, and listen, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. We need people in those jobs. We need those jobs as a whole, but I just knew it wasn't for me. And
so you came to a crossroads. You said, all right, either I'm taking a 9 to 5, that's what I'm going to do,
yes.
or I'm going back to this commission-based stuff and I'm going to freaking make it happen.
Exactly. It was exactly that choice, man, that I was faced with it. And I knew at that time, I remember being up this tree, like 60 feet up in the air. It was like 108 degrees outside that day. and I'd already been out there for probably 8 hours, man, and I'd already taken down 3 trees. I'm on my 4th one, and I'm just dying. I'm dying. And I'm thinking to myself, man, how much did I make last week? There's like 800, I think, right? Yeah, that's right. All right. How many hours did I put in? Doing the math in my head. I'm done, dude. In that moment, I just like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm going to find a way, dude. Like, I'm going back to sales. I'm going to ask the right questions. I'll get with the right people, and I'll figure it out. And that's when I put in for an application. I mean, got on Indeed, started, hunting around, asking buddies, as well, And it's crazy because at that point, that initial group of people, that we had for that first summer in Augusta, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all had kind of split off, and some of them got back together and then split off and got back together. And story of kind of the solar coaster, I see a lot of that, people riding it out at a company for a year, maybe 2, and then, is the grass greener? See ya.
What's your red line? Chasing red lines.
Chasing the red line, chasing whatever, They get
Leaving
in
their
a hole.
pipelines, right? They got a pipeline of deals that are about to go in, and
Yep,
they end up dipping. They don't get paid on those deals. So it's
happens all the time. You see it all the time.
Vicious cycle.
Yep, and at that point, like, I was trying to figure out, okay, what's the right company to go with? What's a good environment for me? And I got an offer from Sunrun at the time. Huge company. They're inside, Costco and Home Depot, and they want me to come out and manage this team. They want me to start a team in San Antonio, so it's in my city. I don't got to go nowhere. They're going to give me a base of 60. They're going to give me a commission on top of that, So, okay, I'll take it, right? It's better than doing tree work.
Mm-hmm.
That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
So, my first, this was like really, truly my first managing experience. I was managing at that one company before, but
Not really.
Not really, I was just.
It was a
winging
title. It was a title.
It was exactly. No. This was a real deal. I got thrown into it, and I'll tell you what, working at the big corporate companies is different, my friend. Very different. It's not for everybody, and there's pros and cons, right? The pros are, you got this big name behind you, and you can really use that and leverage that for the sale and for recruiting and etc. But at the same time, it comes with a lot of red tape. It comes with less commission because you decided to take that salary, right? And the health, the benefits, right? That it all looks good on paper, and it is good, but if you have a limiting belief, yeah. And that's been the kind of story of my career with solar and sales.
Yeah.
Is I have these peaks, right, where I'm crushing it. It's always been when I'm at a 1099, straight commission. And then whenever I get into I gotta get into a real deep rut.
Yeah.
For me to go to a salary based job. But
so it's interesting that you said that, because you said the times you've thrived the most and made the most money is when you didn't have a base. It was just 100% commission, right?
100%, dude. Because
so
it's do or die.
Yeah, it's do or die. Everything's on you. There's no safety net of a base, right? And for all the sales guys out there that are, if you're thinking about getting into sales and you're looking at companies, and if they offer a base plus commission, most of the time what that means is the commission part of it is going to be super minimal.
Exactly.
So it puts a ceiling on your earning potential because they're giving you this safety net of a base, right? And so if you are confident in yourself and your own abilities, find a company that
Yeah.
pays you no base, fat commission, and then go all in. And you can make some incredible
Killer money.
amounts of income that can, if you use it right, can set you up for a very early retirement and wealth building.
Absolutely change your
plan.
life.
Yeah.
You know, and you hit that right on the head, man. Like, it puts you in this position where it is about believing in yourself, and it puts your back against the wall. And if for me, when my back's against the wall, that's when I perform at my highest, man. Like, that's when
Fight or flight.
that's when I grind, man. So I found myself, learning how to manage, which was new for me, right?
So this is
Managing other people.
This is the third company, third
Yep.
solar company.
Yep. Third solar company in like a 2-year time frame.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And so I'm at Sunrun, this biggest one in the USA for residential installs, right? And I start this market. They hadn't had a team there yet. And it was super overwhelming. I was 100% confident I was going to get fired inside the first 30 days because they gave me like a computer and this, Salesforce, and I'm having to use like Excel and all of these things that I've never had to, even think about before, dude.
You're like, there's no engine. Vroom, vroom.
Dude, what is this, And, for the first 30 to 60 days, I was like, oh my God, this sucks. But then once I started to get things, kind of figured out, I really started to enjoy the grind of going out with people and helping them and teaching them and seeing them become successful, sell their first deal, sell their second deal, go from a job, right? Like working at a gas station or working at the bodega at the mall. I've definitely recruited bodega people. And going from making 30, 40K a year to now they just, broke that 100K mark, right?
Right.
And I was telling you earlier today that for me, it became less about me and more about the people that I was working with when I had my first real success story with somebody, right? And that was a game changer for me, and the way that I thought about this industry, this job, and just my overall outlook on life. And that was like just an abundance mindset and giving back. If you put into something 100%, you're going to get something back from that.
Yeah.
It comes back, whether it's good or bad, right?
You had your first taste of somebody showing appreciation to you because you had a direct hand in their success.
Exactly.
And you're like, and that feeling is almost as...
It was emotional.
Yeah.
It was emotional. It felt like when I had won my first, title, I'd worked so hard for something.
Yeah.
This goal, right? And going over the finish line, knowing that I had just won and was the best in the USA in front of a crowd of 60,000 people, you can't describe that feeling, dude.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how I felt, and it became more about that at that moment, and I went all in. We had the fastest market launch in Sunrun's history. There was Houston they had already, Dallas. They had Houston, Dallas, and Austin, and they had started us. Those those other teams have been there 3 to 5 years already, right? I just got started, and our team by month 5, we went platinum at Sunrun. That means you sold as a team 100 plus orders or deals, and that was something that had never been done in the state of Texas, where at the time it was loan cash only, right? No PPAs, no leases.
Right.
And we had a very high battery attachment rating. We were selling the Teslas. Keep in mind, in San Antonio, fairly cheap for the cost of electricity. But we just had high vibration, man. A really good team, a really good culture. And
Isn't it crazy how important that is for a successful team? Just the energy and the vibes, the culture. You could have the highest pay scale and get paid the most per kilowatt, but if you're in a deadbeat, low energy vibes, it's just hard to thrive in that.
Yeah, you got to be around. You got to. It doesn't matter where you're at, what company you're at. If it lowest red line, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's about the people that you're around and the culture for sure. And at the end of the day, you know, like, I had a blast. I was crushing it doing that job, and I knew it. At that time, I knew I wanted to run teams. Now this is what I wanted to do. I want to manage. I still love selling. I still want to go out and personally sell, you know, and especially when the team's going through a drought or something. Now I'm gonna go out and show them what's up, you know. It's neighborhoods, you know. It's been smoked, you know. All right, I'm gonna go out there.
Yeah, let me show you what's up.
Yeah.
What's cool is I was watching from the sidelines, right? Because we hadn't worked together for a couple of years, but I loved when you would post and I'd see your success and you up there like in the leadership roles and stuff.
Yeah,
like
man.
I was super happy for you.
Thanks, brother.
I was super pumped for you. That was cool.
It was crazy, you know. It was crazy because I just remember, you know, from where it all started. With a car and $2,000 in a roach-filled house, okay, in San Antonio, to now I made that year. At the end of that year, I cleared about $200K. It was like $210,000.
That's awesome.
And that was like, all right, you can't say this ain't a real job now. Tell me this ain't a real job now.
Yeah, Grandma Beth, you can't tell me that I don't have a real job.
Come at me, bro. But, you know, you can only say that for so long if you're not saving it and doing the right things with it, right?
We've talked about it on here. I mean, if you make $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year, if you spend it all, you're both broke.
You're both broke. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you're 100% correct. You know, after that first year, we crushed it. I got promoted up again. They sent me out to Cali to run their number 1 team for the number 1 office for Sunrun.
Dude, I saw that. I saw you walk through like with the house they hooked you up with, and it
dude,
was sick. You had a nice long driveway.
That house, bro. Well, first off, they didn't hook me up with that house. That was my pocket.
You hooked it up.
I hooked that up. That was a terrible financial decision, but it was, for me, it was worth it, man. Yo, I had the gate, beautiful big gate going up this hill, top of Harupa Valley, Riverside, California, on a golf course, right? And it was like I don't even want to tell you how much it was a month.
It couldn't have been cheap.
No.
You said you were going to say 6,000.
Yeah, it was like $6,200 a month.
And it was just you living there?
Just me. Big empty house,
Sonny.
man.
Oh
big empty house, bro. And like, you know, all like a lot of it's glass.
Yeah.
It's just me and my 2 dogs, right?
Each had their own wing of the house,
bro.
The west wing, the east wing.
Straight up, you know? And this was a weird transitionary period in my life because I had gone through some personal things and split up, and now I'm by myself for the first time in quite some time.
Yeah.
And I find myself in this huge house in California with people that, to be blunt, did not like me because I was this outsider, even though I was from within the company. I was this outsider who came out of nowhere, and he got the role. Why did he get the role? I've been here grinding for whatever amount of time. That you have
there was
that.
some animosity there with the new guy. Coming in.
Yeah, for sure, and I just suddenly it hit me. I'd been there, I think it was about 4 months I had been there. And it hit me like a ton of bricks one day that I felt so alone out there, man. I've been going out and like hiking all these mountains, bro. Like I'm posting everything on Instagram. I look like I'm probably super happy. But that's the world we live in, isn't it?
That's what Instagram's for.
That's what it's for. Don't believe everything you see, right? And I'm climbing all these mountains and I'm going to all of these beaches and I'm doing all these things, right? And trying to find out who I am for the first time in a long time on my own, right? And I'm in this big house. That made it 10 times worse. And one day I just realized, man, I'm not happy. I'm not happy where I am. And I don't like where I am, and I seen myself heading down a weird path that I didn't like. So I made a tough call and decided to move back to Texas. Obviously I made some phone calls before doing that, and secured a new job, right? But at that time I was about to clear 300K that year. I think I made 250.
Yeah.
But I would have, if I had wrote it out that year, I'd have cleared 300 for sure. But I took off, left Cali, and you know what, man? If there wasn't so many crazy people there, I'd live there for sure. But there's a lot of crazy people. First night in Cali, first day in California, I decided to go out. And I parked my truck underneath this light, think I'm good, go into this place, come back out. Someone had smashed out my window, and they totally missed my iPad. They just grabbed my gym bag with, sweaty nutsack freaking shorts in there, dude. Take them. I had some Jordans in there and stuff. I'm like, dude.
Jeez.
So, yeah, Cali for you.
So you go back to Texas.
Yeah, I get back to Texas, man, and
solar company number 4.
Yes, number 4, and this is
what are you learning like for you? Because you're not the only one, and I don't. This isn't me giving somebody a hard time. This is the reality of the industry for a lot of people.
It is. Yeah.
Just in sales in general, right, and not just solar, in alarms, pest control. Like
it's
a lot of guys.
Very prevalent.
I think that it's what it stems from. I think initially is people think the grass is greener
always
somewhere else.
Yeah,
right? And you've heard a few different phrases. The grass is greenest where you water it the most. The grass looks greener until you get there and you see the weeds.
Yep.
I mean, every company is going to have its pros and its cons. Doesn't matter what you sell, which company you work for. There's going to be pros and cons to each one.
Every single one, man.
Every single one has its pros and cons, right? And there's not one that's that much better than the other. But at the end of the day, it depends, like what you said. It's who are you around daily, right?
Yep.
Energy, vibes, culture.
Routine
are the people that you're around doing what you want to be doing as far as like lifestyle, money, investments, whatever it is? Are you working with people that you aspire to be like, right?
Exactly.
So,
yep.
And then you can grow from there. So stop. If you're thinking about leaving a company, don't stay there. Plant your roots, grow, like dig it deep and grow it. I promise you, when you keep pulling the roots up every freaking time and jumping companies, you're backtracking 1 or 2 years of progress, and you're just 10 years down the road, you'll be in the same spot you were. And there's too much opportunity in what we do for you to do that.
You're 100% right, man. And that's exactly how it's been every single time. I've went to a different company with the promise of it being greener.
Yeah.
It very seldomly is, people. So if you're around, like he said, man, if you are in a good culture, you got that environment, and you're doing good things, you have a good routine. For me, I got to have people in my life that are smarter than me, and that aspire to do great things. And I want to chase after those people and follow those people. If you got people like that, wherever you are, stay there, like he said, because that's an opportunity, right? That's an opportunity for growth, and not everything that is promised, at these other companies, if you will, it doesn't mean it's going to be better. So I learned that. I have learned that many times over, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point in that stage, I had went and hooked up with a lot of people that I'd worked with in the past at Suntria Solar Company. VP's Cody Babel, super dope guy, man. I
Yeah.
love him to death.
Cody's a great dude.
Yeah, man, he's awesome. What's crazy is, like, every time I talk to this guy, and at this stage in my career, now I'm at a point where I'm known well enough where I can talk to the VP, right?
Yeah.
I'm in earshot of him, which is crazy. And every time I've talked to Cody, which is a bunch, but he would remember the conversation that we were having before, and he never asked me so much about work. It'd be like, how's your mom doing, man? Like, how's your family doing? How's things going with you and your girl? How's your dog? And he would remember that kind of thing the next time, and that was like, man, this guy's a good dude.
Yeah.
So Cody always treated me super well, and Ty Rogers, the VP. So Cody's the CEO, my bad,
Mm-hmm.
and Ty's the VP. Both awesome guys, and I got to work with my cousin, which is a person who got me started in the first place in sales.
Day one. Yeah.
So it was like this circle of life here,
Mm-hmm.
dude.
Mm-hmm.
And man, this this wild ride, this wild journey, um, hands down the best company that I've worked for in solar, Suntria for sure. And the energy, the vibe, it reminded me a lot of Vivint. I don't think Vivint's culture can be duplicated, in the vibe. I don't think it can be replicated, man. It's just, that's on another level. So many in solar try, but they miss the mark. They miss the mark, dude. Um, but Suntria definitely had, and still does. They have great things going for them, and being able to work with my cousin, Steven Scott, man, it felt like the right move, because, at the time out there in Cali, I felt all lonely, depressed. I got in this weird state,
Yeah.
I was questioning this identity crisis, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all go through that at one point or another. And it's important to recognize who you should surround yourself with, and your thought patterns, and how to,
Your circle is important.
it's so important. So getting back around people that were killers, and smart, and cared, and actually, followed through on the things that they said that they were going to do, that was, that meant a lot to me. And I absolutely crushed it at Suntria. I made, in like 7 months, like $260K. And then I had a series of events that, if I told you, you wouldn't even believe. I told you earlier, but
Yeah.
it just wild things that had happened. Couple car accidents, and got robbed, crazy stuff. crazy stuff. And it put me in this big financial bind. And I got into, again, this low state of frequency of mind, dude, where I'm questioning myself. And then, you bury yourself in doubt and fear. And all it does, when you allow yourself to be overwhelmed by that much fear and anxiety, it does you no good. You end up with analysis paralysis. You're not going to get anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier said than done to have control over that, but I'm learning more and more how to, and gaining control over that. I have to remind myself of who I am and what I've done and what I've accomplished.
You gotta stick your chest out and be like, "Yo, I'm freaking."
Yo,
remind yourself of what you've done, like you said,
dude. Every year I've
done it once.
this,
I can do it again, even better.
Exactly. I don't care where I am, where it's at, and why am I sad? Why am I, complaining? It could be far worse. I could be somewhere I'm getting, bombs dropped on me, right? Like, I don't know. There's so much out there in the world that is going on, and we're chilling here, like, crying because,
Yep,
whatever the case might be.
Something very minimal compared to the big picture.
The grand scheme, right? We need to be very grateful. And that is something that my cousin, Steven, taught me, is gratitude, right? It means so much, especially if you're feeling down, if you're at a low point. I highly suggest doing this and making this a habit, is taking 20 to 30 minutes every day and writing out on a pen and notepad what you are grateful for. And I mean, down to the stupid, what you would think is stupid, quote, things, right? I mean, you got running water. You got a roof over your head. You got,
Healthy.
a toilet. You're healthy. You're walking. You're breathing. You woke up today. You got $100 in your account. Whatever it might be, write that down and know, like, okay, there's so many people out there that don't have that. They have it way worse. And be grateful for the things that you have. And then go out, reset your mind, and get it done, right? And I've had to really try to work hard at really believing and pushing myself at the lowest points and reminding myself of who I am when I hit those brick walls. And I'm at a place now, I'm 32. I guess I'd be considered old in the just in the sales industry, compared to the young bucks.
Hey, I mean, do you know what's crazy? Is it used to be, but now it's kind of like
the new norm.
I mean, dude, everybody, all ages are taking advantage of it right now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right.
But yeah, no, the majority are in their 20s.
You at least have a good head of hair, though, man. I gotta give you that.
Still trying to,
Looks beautiful, bro.
That's when I write down what I'm grateful for.
Yeah, you should. You should, dog. Yeah. I used to have that long, blonde, curly hair, bro. Surfer hair. Bald under this cap,
Surfer
fellas.
hair.
Yeah, man.
I know.
It's
I remember
crazy.
seeing a picture of you back in the day with your hair, yeah.
My missus, dude, Naomi, she'll look at these pictures of me. I'll show it to her. She goes, "That's not you. That's not you." I'm like, "That's me, boo.
That's awesome.
That's me." And
freaking love it.
It's about the ride. It's about the journey. It's about the people you surround yourself with, and the mistakes that you make. Are you learning a lesson from that, and course correcting? Because here's the deal. We are all going to face challenges. We're going to lose somebody. We're going to lose money. We're going to fail at something. You never know. There's always going to be a challenge thrown in front of us. That's just life. We get shit sandwiches thrown at us all the time. Okay? It's all about how you're going to prepare for it, right? Because if you're not mentally kind of prepared for that and know that this is life, right? Anything can happen in life, and you got to be ready to adapt.
Yep.
And grow and learn and love and keep pushing forward. Because if not, man, you're just gonna go back and back and back, and when you're in that state, man, it's like it's a worse place to be.
Yeah.
So it's all about being grateful, I think, is what it really comes down to, and an abundance mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you got $100 in your bank account.
One of my favorite quotes is, "Fix your attitude, find your gratitude, and reach your highest altitude."
Ooh, who's that by?
I don't know where I heard that, but
Man,
I love
I
it.
like
So
that.
fix your attitude, find your gratitude, you'll reach your highest altitude.
I like that quote.
So, Sonny, dude, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on, being super vulnerable with us.
Yeah, man.
If you guys missed episode 1, it goes deep into a lot of hot topics.
Sure does. Yeah.
So much love, brother. We appreciate you. Guys, we are going to be selling some Maven merch. So if you want to rock the Maven merch in your sales offices, again, being a Maven is just being an expert at what you do and also having the desire to share that knowledge with other people and lift other people up. So if you feel like you're the Maven of your group, send me a DM. I'll get you some Maven swag. We got the hoodies. We got the T-shirts.
Yeah.
We got the hats. There we go.
Sick.
People over profit, baby. So
All day.
much love, babe. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace out, y'all.
If you like the podcast and you want to see another one, click right here. If you want to see some of our other content, click right here.